But the real question is, after last night's win, are the Giants now back to being the best team in the NFC? Because that seems to be a feeling that people got.
Yeah.
They took it to, it seems.
No, there's a lot of really good teams that are all around the same level. Giants just happen to catch a couple teams on some off weeks, happen to catch Rodgers. And that's the whole key to beating Rodgers, to beating Brady, to beating a guy like Breeze, is getting to him. If you can get to them and disrupt their timing and disrupt their rhythm, they become just like every other quarterback out there. And that's the truth. Look at what the 49ers were able to do yesterday with 5.5 sacks on Drew Brees. And look what the Giants were able to do last night against Aaron Rodgers. Just case in point. Two of the best quarterbacks in the league.
Well, I mean, and that is the reality of it. You want to get to the elite quarterbacks. You want to stop the elite quarterbacks from beating you. You have to get to them. OC took advantage of. I don't know what exactly Green Bay was doing on their offensive line. They kept shifting 4 guys one way and giving one-on-one with the other. So it was either one-on-one for OC or one-on-one with Tuck or one-on-one with Pierre-Paul. And I mean, OC just had an extra spring in his step last night. He looked really, really good. You could tell that Rodgers was trying to force the ball on the one interception to Cobb. Webster cheated over and made a great play, but if Rodgers doesn't force that throw, he takes advantage of Webster cheating over and hits James Jones wide open. There were moments in this game that were just, things didn't go Green Bay's way, but for the most part, in my opinion, this was a game that was owned by the Giants. This was not like, oh, Green Bay had bad luck and they just had a couple bad breaks and the Giants took it. No, the Giants owned this game from the kickoff to the finish. And I think that's a fair way to look at this because, look, Rodgers, outside of that deep throw to Jordy Nelson, was average at best throughout the rest of the game. Which they should have went
to all game long because you're not going to beat Corey Webster inside. You're not going to beat him short. You're going to have to beat him over the top, because he is a step slower than most of the receivers in the league. That's the way you beat Corey Webster. And for whatever reason, they didn't go back to it.
No, they did. He seemed very focused.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. I don't get when quarterbacks just get into a mode where they're like, oh, well, no, my game plan will work. No, go with what actually works, what scores you touchdowns.
Yeah, I look, I mean, you can see a difference in this Green Bay defense, specifically without Clay Matthews. I think Charles Woodson does make a big difference. He's also out, but the Clay Matthews injury to me is the biggest impact on this Packers defense because without him, they have nobody that can get to the quarterback. The Giants didn't have to max protect yesterday. They didn't keep tight ends in. They weren't keeping running backs in. They didn't have to. And Green Bay with no Clay Matthews is a huge deal when it comes down to this defense, and they had an opportunity to stay right on Chicago's heels with Chicago. Chicago wins against Minnesota, but Green Bay wins last night. They're both 8-3, and since Green Bay beats Chicago head-to-head, they're technically in first place in the NFC North. But, you know, I will agree with what Fife has thrown in there about Kenny Phillips returning. He was a factor. You saw them running a 3-safety set instead of 3 linebackers almost 80% of last night's game.
Do you know why that is?
Because their linebackers are average?
All are average at best.
Yeah. Your linebacking core has always been your weak spot.
Which makes me sad.
I mean,
when I grew up, LT was my favorite Giant of all time. And to see our linebacking core go so far downhill is the fact that we have to start 3 safeties instead of 3 linebackers because our linebackers can't cover and can't rush.
Before you beat up your linebackers, though, Blackburn had a great game last night. I mean, I'm not saying he.
Why? Because he had that one sack that he got untouched and went to Rodgers. All of a sudden, he had a great game.
He seemed to be where he needed to be all the time. He wasn't a reason the Giants gave up a play. He made tackles. He made pressure on the quarterback.
So he did what he gets paid to do?
Yes, he did. But he's Chase Blackburn. So if there's somebody you're going to expect to make a mistake in your linebacking core, would it surprise you if he did?
No.
Okay,
he should make plays.
So then be happy about him making plays.
Yeah, but it's not like he was an all-star. It's not like he was the difference in them winning or losing.
I love
You could insert any other
The same guy
linebacker.
that tears into me for being negative about my Cowboys, and your Giants whomp arguably one of the best teams in the NFC, and you can't be happy about it.
Oh, I'm happy about it.
So
Don't get it
enjoy
wrong.
some positives about it. Chase Blackburn played a good game. But your linebacking core is average at best.
I just said that. Yes, he played
I was
a
just
good
trying to
game.
give
He did his
I
job.
was trying to give credit to the guy, man. That's all. Just trying to give credit to him. I thought he played a good game. OC to me came out and played like OC Umenyiora.
Did Blackburn have a game where you're like, wow, I want that guy on my team? Or did he just have a game where you're like, all right, he did all right, he made some plays? I don't think anybody's running out and signing him next year off of what he did in this game.
Fair enough.
Okay.
Fair enough. Oh my God. Oh man, look, back to what started that was the fact, yes, you guys ran 3 safeties because your linebackers aren't that good. Kenny Phillips coming back is huge for the Giants defense. Corey Webster making a play is good for Corey Webster, but he's the same guy that could beat on the deep ball by Jordy Nelson. You know what you're going to get out of Corey Webster. You just do. He's a roller coaster
You know what you're
ride
going to get
of a
every week
quarterback.
out of the Giants secondary and linebackers?
Yeah.
It's our D-line and our safeties. That's it.
Hey, back end, front end. What else are you going to ask for? You can't have everything covered, can you?
We can.
That's just asking for too much, my friend. I don't see that happening. I will say, though, the Giants ran the ball. That was really impressive. Brown and Bradshaw each had a rushing touchdown. Bradshaw had a hell of a game and got the rest for the majority of the second half, which is good for the whole foot injury. But I love the little play call they had that got him on the screen pass on the first drive. I thought that was a hell of a little play call. Bradshaw made some people miss. That was impressive. And then, I mean, when you look at it from the Green Bay side of things, like we said, they sort of, one thing worked for them and then they never went back to it offensively. They kept setting themselves up where you were giving one-on-one matchups to Umenyiora or Tuck, and that wasn't working for them. They were trying to force feed Randall Cobb the ball. That led to an interception. And defensively, this team is not the same without Clay Matthews and Charles Woodson. I think that, to me, is what sums up Green Bay's side of this game. And, I watched this game, and to me, the Giants, to me, are, like you said, they are one of the better teams in the NFC. There's numerous good teams in the NFC. I will say they're the best team in the NFC East. I think that's a fair statement to make right now when it comes down to talking about the New York Giants. And I also think when you talk about the way they've stepped up when they've had to face 2 of the bigger names in football so far has been pretty impressive. They went out to San Francisco against arguably one of the best teams in the conference, and they put a beating on them. They host Green Bay on Sunday night, primetime football, one of the best teams in the conference, and they put a beating on them. So I understand they've struggled in games. You know what? To me, it's the stereotypical moment of the Giants.
Do you think that when the Giants took the field yesterday and they saw that awful mustache of Aaron Rodgers, they just said we can't let this porn stash beat us? You say we can't.
My one friend looked at me
we're already embarrassed enough that this guy wears this mustache on our field. Are we really gonna lose to him?
My one friend pointed out, it looks like he'd have a white van with tinted out windows waiting outside the stadium. Like he's just gonna walk up to the stadium, grab somebody, and throw him in his van.
The thing is, did you see the whole team? Like a lot of guys on the team either are growing mustaches, including the coach.
Yeah.
I just find it really funny. What is going on in Green Bay that
it's
you all need to grow the stash?
It's not very complimenting to a look, that's for sure.
Come on, that stash alone. That was just like, boom.
Rodgers looks like he should be in the back.
That was a Ned Flanders mustache right
there. No Shave November, as Marissa points out, but that was no bueno, man. I'm with you. I'm definitely with you. A hairy caterpillar made a home on his upper. That's terrible.
No, that mustache was terrible.
That mustache was terrible. That really was. So is it fair to say right now?
Did the mustache get in the way? Is that what you were ready to ask?
No. What I wanted to ask was, is it fair to say after what you saw last night that the Giants are continuing to meet their stereotype of playing to the level of their competition?
Yeah, always. But they've done that for years. So it doesn't surprise me. They're still, in my mind, going to finish season probably 9-7. They had a shot at 10-6, though. probably closer, probably 9-7, and you're looking at that probably wins the division again. As sad as that is to say.